Okay, technically this is Translations Day B. Translation basically just means moving a graph. And you can also change the size of the graph. You can like double the size of it, or you can just move it around. Mostly we're moving stuff around today, but it gets a little more complicated. By now, you should be already good at this part. Please get to this slide. You should already be good at this part. You should be able to say, oh, minus h. That means you're going to move h which way? To the right. And then k units, what? Up. Okay, good. And the stuff on the inside, you do the opposite of what you'd expect. And stuff on the outside, you can trust. All right, moving on to this one. Do you remember the parent functions? The parabola one you learned before. The absolute value one looks like this. And the square root one looks like, this is the hardest one to probably remember, over 4 up to, oh, I did it wrong. Everybody please graph this one. It's kind of generally a ramp shape, but I need you to know which ones are which. You need to know these parent functions. The first 2 dots are there. See if we can do the other ones. Once you got the parent graph, turn it my way. I'll tell you if you did it right. This is square root of x. It is not a parabola. It's kind of like a parabola, but it's not a parabola. That's right. That's right. Thank you. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Yup. 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 Okay. I didn't see some of you. Hopefully you're getting it done. It's over 4 up 2, over 9 up 3. So it should look kind of like that. All right. Now, what if we just have a weird shape like this one, like this red squiggly? Well, you're expected to be able to move that around too. So if, for instance, I had that squiggly and I said, I want to do f of x plus 3, it's not too hard to tell what I'm trying to tell you. Take the squiggly and do what? Move it up 3. So you just take all the points on the squiggly, move all the points up 3. I'm taking this point now and I'm moving it up 3, taking that point, moving it up 3, actually goes off the graph. There we go. I moved my thing up 3. Okay, so you don't even have to know mathematically what its equation is. You just might need to know what the picture is and move the picture up 3. That's not too bad. All right, so this one just takes my parabola, moves it 2 to the right, and then up 4. All right, I'd like you to graph the parent parabola for yourself so that you can grab it with the scissors and move it 2 to the right and up 4. All right. This time, row 1 and 2, row 3 and 4, row 5 and 6, show each other. Show the person across you from you. See if you get the same thing as them. If it doesn't look right, don't just tell them it's right. Check it. Make sure they actually moved 2 to the right and up 4. Okay, good. Now, what if I didn't have a snipping tool on my test? Because you won't. You're going to have a piece of paper you have to do this on. How are you going to do it? Well, you take the original point and you actually just graph the parent points, and then you also graph the new points. So if I have my parent points like this, oopsie, missed on that one, over 2 and up 4, and there we go, there's my parent points. Now, I take each point and I regraph it by going 2 to the right and up 4. Over 2, up 1, 2, 3, 4. There's my first point I moved. It was the vertex. Now I'm grabbing this point. Over 2 and up 4. There we go. Now this point. Moving it over 2 and up 4. There we go. See how I'm replicating it up there? All right. So just be aware that you're not going to have a snipping tool. If you get too dependent on that to be able to do these, I'd hate to see you do badly on your test because of that. All right, this one. Do you get that it's the parent function except moved where? Up 7. A ton of people made a mistake last hour. Where do you think they moved it? Where do you think that would be the common mistake? A lot of people thought, oh, that's on the inside of the square root, so I'm going to move it left 7. That was the common mistake people made. Don't do that. All right, moving on. Here's a squiggle. And they tell you where to move it. This time I would like you to not use your scissors tool, just because you won't have one on the test. Try to graph this correctly without using the scissors tool. And I'll tell you if you did it right. Turn it my way when you're done. And yes, it'll be slightly off the graph, but just slightly. Okay, good, good, good. It's not off the graph. All right. All right, hold on just a second. I'm trying to figure out my best point for my way of telling if you did it right. Okay, can you make it just a little darker? I can't see that line. It's like gray or something. That's right. That one's 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 right. Yours is right. Yours is right. Yours is right. I think you moved it down one notch too far, but I can't tell. Double check it. Yours is right. 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 Ethan, thank you. Yours is right, and yours is right. Okay, good. People are doing this right. I'm not too worried about you. So, what I was looking for is this point right here moves to that spot right there, and then everything else moves down accordingly. Okay, so I was trying to see if you had overlap in the right spots there. To the right down 4 will be about there. So, it was like that. This one's 2 to the right down 4. Like that. To the right down 1, 2, 3, 4. That, and then 2 to the right down 1, 2, 3. That. There we go. Okay. Moving on. I don't think we need to do this again. You're just going to take it and tell me where it should move. Right or left? Left. Left what? Left 2 and down 3. Good. Moving on. I have a function here, and then it says what transformation was performed to produce that. Very complicated words, but all they you're asking for is what transformation did you do? And that's like right 5 and down 2 or whatever. What is this one? Left 5 and down 1. Good. Those are the transformations. Okay, now let's actually graph this thing. Once again, I don't want you to use the scissors tool. Do this one without the scissors tool because you won't have one on the test. So what I'd be thinking is, well, there's normally a point right there, right, to do a parabola. And then I'm going to move it 5 to the left and down 1. That's where I'm going to start my parabola. Now, really, do I have to remake all the points and move them all over? Or couldn't I just start making a parabola right there? You get what I mean? If I know the vertex is right there, don't you know that the thing's going to be basically looking like that? So couldn't you just say, okay, I've moved it 5 to the left and down 1. And now I'm just going to take all the points and say, well, there's a point there, there's going to be a point there. Then I go over 2 and up 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's got to be a point there. And I go over 2 and up 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's got to be a point there. See what I mean? You don't necessarily have to take each point, graph it on the parent, and then move it over. If you know what the shape looks like, start at its vertex. And one last thought. Where is its vertex? Think about this now. That spot right there is at -5, -5 comma, what? -1. Now think about this. That's the opposite of what you'd think. That's what you'd think. You can go to -5 comma -1 and start your parabola there. That's called the vertex. The place where the parabola makes its turn. So if I gave you another parabola and said, here's a parabola, where would its vertex be? What comma what? -6 comma -7. And then you just draw the parabola from there. All right, for some of you that's going to work, for some of you it's not. And as long as you have a way to do it, we're fine. Next thing is the domain. The domain is how far to the left, and then how far to the right, and it's got a parentheses with a comma. And then the range is how far down to how far up. And again, we have a comma and two numbers. Would you please try to figure out the domain and range for this one? Ask yourself, how far left does it go? How far right does it go? Then you got your domain. Your range, you're asking yourself how far down first and then how far up will it go? Turn it my way, I'll tell you if you did it right. You are so right. Yes. Yes. Yes, sir. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. The beginning's right. Now do the range. Can you zoom a little bit more? You're right. You're right. You're right. I haven't had anybody be wrong yet. Okay. The only thing I could see on anybody's that was wrong was some people forgot the bracket. You remember how it's -1 to infinity, but it touches at -1? Some of you forgot the bracket. Other than that, everybody was good. Okay? All right, moving on. Write an equation. Well, this one is translated up 4 units. Well, if I take this and move it up 4, what would its new equation be? No, don't graph it, just write an equation. Y equals absolute value of x, and you just kind of make it big and loose, because that way you can throw things in and outside it if necessary. How am I going to move this thing up 4? Plus 4, there's the equation for it. That's all there is to it. It's really easy. Okay. The squared one, translated right, 3. Y equals x. I'm making it big and loose so I have room to put stuff inside or outside it. And now, right 3. Minus 3 on the inside. There we go. All right, there's one more way they make these kinds of problems, and it looks kind of cryptic. See if you can decode this. Write me what you think the answer to that is. It's just like the last problems we were doing. You write me an equation. Write me an equation for that. I know only maybe half of you are going to figure this out, but I want you to try it without me first. And I'll tell you if you did it right. Get what I'm trying to tell you by giving you this information. Check it if you want to see if you did it right. Make sure. That is what I was trying to tell you. Yes, you got it figured out. It needs a y equals, otherwise you're good. Yours should not have an f in it, otherwise you're good. You're right, except it needs a y equals. Don't forget to start with y equals, please. That one was good. Yes, yes. 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 Needs a y equals. Yes. Okay, good. I'm getting lots of people getting it. Here's what you should do. You take this function right here. F of x is x squared. And now, can you say f of x? Sure. What a lot of you said was what instead? Y equals. That's fine. Y is the same as f of x, so I'm fine with that. Y equals x squared, but then what haven't I done yet? I haven't actually done what it said. I didn't do that, and I didn't do that. So now I take it and I go, okay, well, it's going to be x squared written a little looser here, so I have room to stick stuff in there. And then I go minus 3 and plus 5. That's it. And get that? All it is this tells me what to do. Move it to the 3 to the right and move it up 5. And this tells me what function to use. Let's do another one like that. F of x minus 9 plus 1. And the function is going to be this. Write me the resulting function. I want to know how many people can do this. So in a moment, you're going to show the person in the other row. Don't show them yet, because a lot of people aren't done yet. Okay, rows 1 and 2 show. Rows 3 and 4 show each other. Rows 5 and 6 show each other. And would you look at his? Good. All right. It could be a y or an f of x, but you have to have something, either a y or an f of x. Because if you don't have that, then you don't have an equation. All right, I write it kind of loose, and then I put stuff in. Minus 9 plus 1. There we go. Raise your hand if you had it right. Okay, good. Now, this last one. The blue is the original. The purple's the new one. What did I do? And you have to write your answer with an F in it. See if you can figure out what I'm talking about. The answer is F of something. Blue's the original, purple's the new one. All right, so your first job is to figure out what did happen. Hopefully you figured out it moved 3 to the right and it moved down 5. Then how do you say that? You say F of, how do I say 3 to the right? X plus 3, and how do I say down 5? Minus 5. There's your answer. F of x plus 3 minus 5. Why didn't we say like squared or absolute value? Oh, did I say something wrong? Yes? Go ahead. I assume you're trying to call me on something. You're probably right. What? I assumed plus 3 because it was going to the right. Isn't that kind of the classic mistake? Because it's on the inside, it goes the opposite. So what should it have been? Minus 3. So now did I do it right? Do you agree? Good. And that's good that a lot of people caught me on that. It is an easy mistake to make, isn't it? I mean, 3 to the right seems like plus 3. But since it's on the inside of the parentheses, you have to do the opposite of that, so minus 3. Okay, good. There is your hardest, one of your hardest kind of test questions. And that's not too hard, is it? All right, good. Okay, so last thought. How do you put a function inside another function? Well, remember, it's kind of like the alligator eating a to g of x, okay? Well, we want the f function, this guy right here, to eat this guy, and this guy is going to go inside of this guy. And so the g of x itself doesn't go in there, just what it's equal to. So that right there would need to go in right there. See if you can write it. Don't graph it, just see if you can write it with the one inside the other. Want a terrifying snake story of something, snake eating something? A guy, hold on just a second, I'm recording, so that wouldn't be good to say that on the recording. All right, yes, he lived. All right, so here's the x plus 2 going inside here. First of all, I take this and I write it with an empty spot. You remember me telling you about that? Empty spot where the x is, minus 1. And then what do you drop into the empty spot? X plus 2. There's your answer. Does it have to have those parentheses? Not this time because there's no minus in there, but it's still a good idea to have them. It's optional, though. How many of you had either this or this without these two parentheses? Raise your hand if you had it right. Okay, good. Then how do you actually graph it? Well, it's just like all the other ones. Change that to a y because it makes more sense to understand that in terms of graphing. And I'm going to change that to not have parentheses. This is the square root function except moved where? What's that? Left 2, what's that? Down 1. So it's the normal ramp function, which looks like that. And 9 and 3 is there. And then I take those points and I move them 2 to the left and down 1. So I'd move each of them 2 to the left. And then I'd take each of them, move it down 1. There, they went together. Neat. And then I just connect them with this blue line, and there would be your answer. Uh-oh. Okay. Flaw in the original. Okay. Tell me what I did wrong. Oh, this point right here, isn't it? It should be there, shouldn't it? Over 4 up 2. Yep, because 4 and the square root of 4 is 2. 9. Square root of 9 is 3. Okay. You're right. That point was off a smidge. So I should grab this guy and move him over. No. Okay. Anyway, long story. Nope. No, it's not. Just a second. 2 to the left and down 1. So that should be 2 to the left and down 1. There we go. And then that should be 2 to the left, down 1, and down 1. There we go. Now I've got my ramp done correctly. Okay, that's it. To sum it all up, if you have a function that looks like this, that's how far either left or right it went. And does that kind of annoy you to have the k in front? They're going to do that, just so you know. If I put it at the end, obviously this means up 3. But do you get I could put 3 plus, just the same as I could put plus 3? Either way is up 3. So watch out for that. Okay, that's all I got for the video.